All right, so of course, you know the Eagles beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs are in action tonight. They're trying to get back to yet another Super Bowl. They're taking on the Chargers tonight in Brazil. It's the second straight season that the NFL will play a regular season game in Brazil, and the Chiefs, of course, it feels like they're playing with a little bit of a...
Still.
Yeah, literally, you can't get away from him. They're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, right? Like they didn't win, they didn't get the three-peats, now they're coming back with a vengeance, right? And they're wanting to get back to a Super Bowl and, of course, get back to another division title. So let's welcome in our guys, Mike Renner and JP Acosta, to preview this matchup here and some other ones a little bit later. So gentlemen, the Chiefs, it feels like every year we always have a small group of individuals that are like, this is the year to get the Chiefs, right? Like they lost these guys, the O-line is different, yada, yada, yada. We always keep saying that, right? The season is underway in Brazil. Mike, kick us off. How are you feeling about the Chiefs, considering the offseason moves and the schedule that lies ahead?
Yeah, I think the defense is going to be worse. I don't see necessarily where it got better, right? When you lose guys like Eric Reed, Turk Wharton, they're just going to be difficult to replace. I think there's a world in which this offense, and specifically this offensive line rebuild and that young receiving core, turns into an explosive version that we just haven't seen in a few years. You know, everyone's talking about Mahomes. Is he a check down king now? His average depth of targets dropping every single year. I think that changes. They have speed on the outside, and now when Rashee Rice comes back from his suspension, this will be the best receiving core since they traded away Tyreek Hill. So it may not be a team that wins via defense like they've done the past couple of years, but they may have one of the most, if not the most, explosive offense in the NFL this season.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to watch the Chiefs offense this year. In a way, it's fitting that they're going to be in Brazil. They're looking for their own version of the beautiful game back. They're still trying to find ways to be explosive. They're trying to find ways to get the ball downfield. But like Mike said, this team, this roster at receiver is going to be much more deep. They're going to have so much more layers to the offense. And I think it's going to lead to a lot more Patrick Mahomes targets downfield.
All right, so we're talking about this explosive offense, right? And taking away last year, typically that always means that Travis Kelce is really going to be in the mix, right? And it was a down year by his standards last year, but like new year, new season, new Travis Kelce. He's an engaged man, as we all know. So what is different this year for Travis Kelce as a fiance? Take a listen.
Engaged.
There we go. Exactly. I got one more ring from it. I would say, two if we're counting the first Super Bowl. I would say, you know, I've ever since I've been dating Taylor, life has been fun. You know, it's been exciting. Obviously, a lot more eyes, and I accept that. But it's just, I'm living life. You know, living on a high. I guess.
Dream, dude.
Yeah.
Is this the last dance?
For who? For me? Man, it's the last one on the contract right now. But I'll tell you what, I'm feeling young and I'm feeling ready to rock, baby.
Look how loose that shirt is, man. That's great.
God, man, this thing was a little tighter last year.
Man, Patty Mahomes, shout out his guy, working out in the gym, right? Saying the shirt's a little looser. I just want to say that Travis and Taylor are my personal Roman Empire. Like, that is going to be my royal wedding, so I am so excited. Bring it back to the football of it all. JP, are you expecting a better year from Travis Kelce overall? We've seen him hit the gym. He's been working out in the offseason, man.
I think I am, largely because it can't get much worse for him athletically than it did last year. Last year, he looked slow. He looked a little less athletic than he used to. But the thing about Travis Kelce is he's always had that sort of mind meld with Patrick Mahomes and that ability to always find holes in the zone. But I think with the offense being much more explosive around him and the ability to have layers within this offense, Kelce will have more ability to find ways in the middle of the field, find those open gaps. And I think he'll look better this year than he did last year.
Yeah, like what I touched on in the first segment there, they have speed on the outside. They don't have possession receivers on the outside. Their possession receiver is Travis Kelce. So to move the chains consistently, it's still going to be that Kelce-Mahomes connection. So looking sprier, looking lighter, I think you're going to see Travis Kelce bump up his production just a little bit.
Heck yeah, and I can't wait to see Taylor on the sideline. That's my girl, man. I love the Taylor shots. All right, we're getting into a Chiefs impact player to watch. And from the Super Bowl, we know what happens when you can't protect Patrick Mahomes, right? It always comes back to the O-line. Both of y'all are targeting Josh Simmons. So JP, for you, tell us why.
The reason I'm targeting Josh Simmons is because this is his first real NFL regular season competition against a Chargers defensive front that is really physical, that's really tough. Going to see a lot of Khalil Mack, Tuli Pelotu, Bud Dupree on the outside. But the thing that stood out about Simmons is just how great of an athlete he is coming off that knee injury. He looked like he didn't even miss a beat. He has such a large athletic window that if he ever messes up technique-wise, he's able to make up for it on the left side. And like we said, you can't be explosive throwing the ball downfield if Patrick Mahomes is always on his butt. So having Josh Simmons play well in his first career game would be huge for this offense.
Yeah, I want to echo what JP said about the athlete. I mean, this is the most athletic offensive line they've had in a while. These guys go 5 across, at least 4 across, of guys that can really move and just add more wrinkles to this running game than the straightforward kind of cloud of dust running game that we saw a year ago.
All right, so let's go to the Chargers side of things. And they come off an 11-win season in Harbaugh's first season there. So, JP, do you think that they can kind of take that next step in year 2 under Harbaugh?
It's going to be tough. It really is. I think I was hoping for more of an offensive explosion this year, but losing Rashawn Slater before the season feels like the average Chargers chaos event before the season. Losing your all-pro left tackle is going to be a big step backwards for this team. You're always having to reshuffle, but this team's incredibly well coached. I think Jesse Minter and his second-year defensive coordinator is going to do really well. The defense is going to have to keep them in games, and as long as you have Justin Herbert on the center, there are going to be plays downfield. There are going to be superhero moments that he's going to have. So they're going to be well coached. They're going to be tough to play. I don't know if they'll reach 11-6 like they did last year, though.
Yeah, JP, I'd be very surprised if they reach 11-6. One, because the rest of that division got a lot better. The Raiders got a lot better. The Broncos add some pieces. And two, because you've already seen the injuries strike at key positions. Rashawn Slater, a guy who was, Pro Bowler a year ago at the left side, he's already lost for the season. And then when you look at the roster, you just point at avenues. You're like, where did they get better? Running back's probably the only position, the only place you can say they got better there. And when that's the case, when you can't point out places you get better, usually you're getting worse in the NFL, unfortunately.
And we see it there in the schedule, the most traveled miles of any team in the NFL, over 37,000 miles there, which is gonna be tough any way you slice it. Let's go to an impact player to watch. And JP, we kind of already alluded to it with some of the injuries they've dealt with on the O-line, and that's where we're going for your impact player.
Yeah, for mine, I went with Zion Johnson, left guard for the Chargers, but this really could be extended to the entire interior offensive line, whether it's Mekhi Becton, who was on the injury report today with an illness, may or may not play tonight, so it might be Jamari Sawyer, Bradley Bozeman, and Johnson. Having to block Chris Jones for the entire game is going to be an issue for them, especially as they retool this offensive line. Spags has been known to just kind of pick a matchup for Jones, whoever he wants on the offensive line, and he's going to go at them for 60 minutes. It's kind of like when you're playing basketball and you're going up against someone who you know is just not as good as you, and you're just picking on them every single point during the game. So for them to play well, for Justin Herbert to have time to get the ball off, for them to create any lanes in the run game, that interior of the offensive line is going to have to play really well.
Yeah, for me, it's the guy that they'll be blocking for, because Amarion Hampton could be, he kind of gets lost in the shuffle because you had Ashton Jeanty get drafted ahead of him. You have a lot of these day two running backs who are more interesting fantasy stories, but Amarion Hampton, to me, is a perfect fit for this offense, one. And two, you saw when they had J.K. Dobbins last year how effective this running game was. Without him, it didn't have near the explosive potential. Amarion Hampton has that explosive potential, and he could be a bell cow as well. So if you get that running game humming and allow Justin Herbert to be more of a game manager and have his efficiency numbers go up, this offense could take the next step this season because of this guy.
Mike, JP, we certainly appreciate it. Previewing Chiefs-Chargers. Play gets underway 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight from Brazil, so we are anxiously awaiting. But